Grassroots creativity. Every day, people take advantage of new technologies that enable them to archive, annotate, appropriate, and recirculate media content. While grassroots creativity can arise from various media, most often it draws from commercial culture. As Jenkins' research proved, people grow into fan cultures and seek to create a fictional world that fills in the gaps of their favorite movie or TV show plot. These fans will often develop videos, pictures, and other internet media tools as a way to extend the fictional world that they have created. In relation to this concept, Jenkins discusses the difference between two similar terms, interactivity and participation. While their definitions are related, they result in two very different groups in convergence culture. Interactivity is the way that new technologies have been designed to be more responsive to consumer feedback. An example of interactivity is the development of TiVo as a means to satisfy consumers who watch TV on a frequent basis. It makes their experience more enjoyable as it allows them to consume their favorite show when it is convenient for them and watch it multiple times. While the consumer feedback requires a bit of participation from people, the end result is the producer creating a good or service. Participation, on the other hand, is shaped by cultural and social protocols. Under the control of media, consumers and not media producers are the ones involved with production. Participation involves consumers becoming producers by creating and distributing games and websites online. They are given the means of production through the freedom of the internet. As I stated earlier, grassroots creativity often takes the form of people recreating and adding to their favorite movie or TV show. When this takes the form of participation, the subject of copyright arises. As the past 10 years have shown, companies choose to respond to such recreation of ideas in one of two ways. For the purpose of this explanation, I will use the example from this chapter, Star Wars. Star Wars fans are among the most passionate fans in the world. With the accessibility of YouTube in the early 2000s, fans began to create viral videos. Some were merely recreated scenes from the original movies, but more often than not, they were the results of grassroots creativity. Fans filled in the gaps in the plot that George Lucas left out, created songs about all things Star Wars, and even created video birth announcements in a Star Wars theme. George Lucas had two options for dealing with this video production craze. First, he could have become a prohibitionist. Prohibitionist companies have a scorched earth policy that strictly prohibits anything that could violate copyright and persecutes fans who do so. The best example of this is the Napster scandal from the early 2000s. Everyone can remember when musicians and recording companies sued the music sharing site for copyright infringement. The musicians and recording companies won, and Napster was shut down in 2002. I believe that this had a negative result on the fans of these musicians and recording companies, as they appeared greedy in their fight to keep their music. Most often, older traditional media companies like these are prohibitionists. On the other end of the spectrum, collaborationists are companies that encourage consumer participation. They see fans as collaborators who have something great to offer and who will expand their brand. While still experimental, new media companies are using the internet as a playground for collaboration. The creation of iPhone apps, websites, games, and videos are just a few examples of fans collaborating. So where does Star Wars fit? For a while, it seemed that Star Wars was straddling the fence between these two ideas. However, I believe they are more collaborationist than not, as they allow for the creation of hundreds of video spoofs each year. In this chapter, a handful of examples were provided of such videos that were hits among Star Wars fans. First, Adam Films has hosted a Star Wars fan film festival annually since the early 2000s. The contest sees well over 150 submissions each year. Participants have created advertising and marketing campaigns for their films to increase their chances of winning. At the end of this presentation, you will see an example of one of these ad campaigns. Second, George Lucas in Love was created by a group of USC students in the 90s. It portrays a young George Lucas as a college student smitten by Princess Leia. It was released on VHS in 1999 during the same time as the DVD release of the first Star Wars movie. George Lucas in Love beat out Star Wars for a day on the bestseller list.